Welcome to Roots and Rest. This evening you'll be transported to the Bluebell Hollow. So settle in, get comfortable, and let your body begin to relax. There was a woodland that only revealed itself in certain seasons. Not hidden exactly, but easy to pass by without noticing. A narrow path curved between old trees, their branches arching gently overhead, and if you followed it long enough, without hurrying, without looking for anything in particular, you might find the place where the ground began to change, where the green deepened, where the air grew softer, where the light turned faintly blue. This is where the bluebells grew. Not in scattered patches, but in a quiet, endless drift. A soft tide of colour beneath the trees, stretching further than it first seemed. And at the edge of this woodland, in a small moss-lined cottage, lived someone named Sorrel. Sorrel was not in a rush to be anywhere. She moved gently through her days, the way some people move through shallow water, aware of each step, each shift, each pause. She liked the early hours best, that quiet moment when the world hadn't quite decided what it would be yet, when the air felt still and full of possibility. On one such morning, when the sky was just beginning to pale, Sorrel stepped outside her cottage and noticed something different. A faint sweetness she couldn't quite place. She stood there for a moment, breathing it in. Then, without needing to think about it, she began to walk. Not with a plan or a destination, just following the feeling. Her footsteps carried her along the narrow path at the edge of the trees, the one she had walked many times before. But this morning, it felt quieter. Even the birds seemed to be waiting. As she stepped beneath the branches, the light shifted slightly, as though the world had been wrapped in something gentle. Sorrel slowed her pace. There was no need to hurry here. The ground beneath her feet softened too, moss and earth cushioning each step, holding her weight without resistance. She walked a little further, and then she saw it. At first, just a hint of colour between the trunks of the trees. A pale blue, almost like mist resting on the ground. But as she moved closer, it became something more. The woodland opened slightly, and before her stretched a wide, quiet hollow filled with bluebells. Thousands of them. Their delicate stems curved under the weight of small bell-shaped flowers, each one catching the soft morning light. They moved gently, not from the wind exactly, but from something softer, a kind of quiet rhythm. Sorrel stepped forward carefully, as though entering a place that didn't need to be disturbed. The air here felt different, cooler, but not cold, still, but not silent. There was a faint sound, almost too soft to notice at first. A low, gentle hum. Not from one place, but from everywhere at once. Sorrel paused, listening. It wasn't a sound you could follow, or something you could settle into. She took another step, and another, until she found a place where the bluebells grew slightly thinner, forming a small clearing. There she sat. Not because she was tired, but because it felt like it was the right thing to do. The scent of the flowers drifted around her, light and calming, almost like a memory she couldn't quite place. She closed her eyes just for a moment, and as she did, the hum seemed to deepen, like something settling into place. Her breathing slowed without effort, each inhale gentle, each exhale softer than the last. The thoughts she had carried with her, the small quiet ones that linger in the background of any day, began to loosen, not disappearing, just drifting further away, like leaves carried along a slow-moving stream. Time passed, but not in a way that needed measuring. The light shifted gradually above her, filtering through the branches in soft patterns that moved without urgency. The bluebells continued their quiet motion, their gentle rhythm unchanged. At some point, Sorrel opened her eyes again. The world felt different. The hollow seemed even wider now. Or perhaps she was simply noticing more of it. She stood quietly, brushing the soft earth from her hands. And she began to walk again. This time not toward anything, but through. She followed a faint path between the flowers, careful not to disturb them. And as she walked, she began to notice more things she hadn't seen before. The way the light gathered at the edges of each petal, the way the stems bent but never broke, the way the colour shifted slightly depending on where she stood. It wasn't just blue. There were hints of violet, soft touches of silver where the light rested. The hum remained with her, steady, constant, comforting. Sorrel walked for a little while longer, until she reached the far side of the hollow. Here the bluebells thinned again, giving way to the familiar green of the woodland floor. She paused at the edge, looking back. The hollow didn't seem smaller from here. If anything, it felt deeper, like a place that didn't need to be fully understood, just visited. She stood for a moment, then turned, and began to make her way home. Her steps were slower, more certain somehow. The early light had grown warmer, filtering through the trees in gentle gold tone. Birdsong had returned, quiet. The world was waking, but she carried something with her. A kind of quiet steadiness, a softness that lingered beneath everything else. When she reached her cottage, she paused at the doorway, turned slightly, just enough to look back towards the trees. The woodland stood as it always had. There was no sign of the hollow from here. No hint of the bluebells. But she knew it was there. Not hidden. Just waiting. For the right moment. For the right kind of noticing. Sorrel stepped inside. The day would continue as all days do. There would be small tasks, simple rhythms, quiet moments. But something had shifted for her. As the hours passed, she felt herself returning to that feeling. The softness, the stillness, the gentle hum. Not as a memory, but as something still present. Something that hadn't been left behind at all. And now, As your own breathing has slowed and the weight of the day begins to soften, you might imagine that same hollow, not far away or difficult to reach, just somewhere quiet, a place where the ground feels soft beneath you, where the air is still and gentle, where a field of bluebells stretches out in every direction. You don't need to walk far. You don't need to search. Just notice the colour, the quiet, the soft rhythm that moves through everything. And if there are thoughts still lingering, you can let them drift here. Let them settle among the flowers. They don't need to go anywhere else. They can rest here for a while you settle, while sleep begins to find you, gently, naturally, in its own time. And like the hollow, it doesn't need to be forced. It will meet you when you're ready. So just stay here a little longer, in the quiet, in the softness, in the gentle blue of the woodland. Good night.